Mr. Speaker, like a kid at a carnival, I rise in full support of H.R. 527, the Responsible Helium Administration and Stewardship Act of 2013. Mr. Speaker, I'm relieved that, and I'm sure that the American people are relieved as well, that Congress is finally going to do something about one of the most pressing issues of the day. That is, we've got to ensure access to helium for all. Surely those harmed by sequestration and those harmed by the Republican failure to appoint budget conferees appreciate the House spending 2 full legislative days on this most critical issue. The American people certainly understand the fact that 48 hours of this House's precious time was necessary to pass such a non-controversial bill. I'm pleased to support this bill, which shows that this Tea Party Congress will make the tough choice to keep children's birthday parties on schedule and give industries that rely on helium the lift that they deserve. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, a world without balloons. How can we make sure that the injustice of there being no helium for comedians to get that high-pitched voice that we all hold near and dear to our hearts? Imagine a world without balloons.
Now, this is a island that at its widest level is, what, 12 miles from shore to shore, and at its smallest level, or smallest location, it's 7 miles between one shore and the other. Is that correct?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
Very small island, and about 24 miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that. The Guam population, I think, currently about 175,000, and again, with 8,000 Marines and their families, it's an addition of about 25,000 more into the population. And also things like the environment, the sensitive areas of the environment, coral reefs and those kinds of things. And I know that, you know, lots of people don't like to think about that, but, you know, we didn't think about global warming either. And now we do have to think about it. And so I'm concerned from an environmental standpoint.
Look weak. Well, I tell you, that brings to mind the picture of President Trump and President Zelensky meeting in New York in September at the UN, and a big chair for President Trump, little chair for President Zelensky, big 6'4" President Trump, 5'11" Mr. Zelensky, President Zelensky, and they're standing there, and President Trump is holding court, And he says, oh, by the way, no pressure. And you saw President Zelensky shaking his head as if his daughter was downstairs in the basement, duct taped. I mean, there's an imbalance of power in that relationship. It always has been. And there's no